The 12th of March, 1938. German troops cross the border with Austria and invade the country without firing a single shot. They are not met with armed resistance, but with cheers and flowers. While thousands of Austrians turn out to greet Adolf Hitler as he travels first to Linz and then on to Vienna, terrified Jews, leftists, and other opponents of the Nazi regime race towards the country's borders, hoping to reach them before they are closed. But most will become trapped in a rapidly Nazifying Austria. In the weeks that follow, there is pogrom-like violence across the country. Austrian Nazis and others beat up, attack, and humiliate the Jews. They force them to scrub the streets, clean public toilets, and perform humiliating exercises. Many decide to try to leave Austria, and lines appear at consulates across the city of Vienna. Several months later, the Nazis begin to operate the Mauthausen concentration camp near Linz. The conditions at the camp are even more severe than at most other Nazi concentration camps, and are characterized by medical experiments, systematic abuse, mistreatment, and mass killings conducted by SS officers. One of them is Josef Riegler. Josef Riegler, the son of a factory worker and his wife Katharina, was born on the 5th of July 1922 in Linz in Austria. Thanks to his good academic performance, he initially planned to become a teacher, but like many of his fellow Austrians, his life took a different path. Josef Riegler was only 10 years old when on the 30th of January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg. After his assumption of power, Hitler fully intended to bring about an Austro-German union. Beginning in May 1933, Austrian Nazis waged a propaganda and terror campaign, which was encouraged and funded by Germany. Their plan worked out in the spring of 1938, when Adolf Hitler annexed the federal state of Austria into the German Reich. In April 1938, 1 month after the annexation of Austria into the German Reich, known as the Anschluss, Riegler joined the SS. He was only 15 years old. After 1934, SS officers commanded all concentration camps in Germany and in German-occupied territory. Units known as the Death's Head units guarded and administered the camps, although the security police, which consisted of the political police, the Gestapo, and the criminal police, the Kripo, had exclusive authority to incarcerate, release, and officially order the execution of prisoners. The daily life of the prisoners lay in the brutal and merciless hands of the camp commandants and these SS Death's Head units, which were not part of the police forces. Riegler as well joined the SS Death's Head units and received his military training in Oranienburg. The German invasion of Poland, which marked the beginning of the Second World War, and in which Riegler participated, began on the 1st of September 1939. At the time of the German attack on Poland, he was only 17 years old. In April 1940, Riegler participated in the occupation of Norway, which Germany launched as part of Operation Weserübung, to secure vital shipping routes and natural resources, particularly iron ore from Sweden. After Germany invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, Riegler was stationed on the Eastern Front, where he suffered frostbite on both feet and was sent back for medical treatment. In February 1942, Riegler was transferred to the Mauthausen concentration camp. The Mauthausen concentration camp had become operational from the 8th of August 1938, several months after the German annexation of Austria, when the SS transferred the first prisoners from the Dachau concentration camp. The site was chosen because of the nearby granite quarry and its proximity to Linz. During this phase, the prisoners, all of them German and Austrian men, had to build their own camp and work in the quarry. In December 1939, the SS ordered the construction of a second concentration camp, Gusen, just a few kilometers from Mauthausen. The Gusen camp went into operation in May 1940. As the war progressed, to accommodate the prisoners where they worked, the SS established several subcamps. Commandants of these camps reported directly to German Nazi Commandant Franz Zereis. Newly arrived prisoners were transferred to these camps from the main camp. Living and working conditions in Mauthausen, as in Gusen, were harsh, which led to the death by murder, mistreatment, starvation, exposure, and disease of more than half of the prisoners. In 1941, the SS started to construct a gas chamber and other installations at Mauthausen for the systematic murder of large groups of people. After his capture, Mauthausen Commandant Franz Zerreis recalled the inmates had been killed by gassing, hard labor, or through benzene injections, or how at an outside temperature of -12 degrees, they made the inmates bathe in water and then stand in the open stark naked until they died. Some inmates had to haul stones until they collapsed, then they were shot, and their record was annotated trying to escape. At Mauthausen, Riegler was assigned as a block leader, and he quickly built a reputation for his cruelty. He became notorious for beating and torturing prisoners, often without any apparent reason. In one instance, he beat to death survivors from a transport of 300 prisoners, who had been forced to stand naked in the camp yard throughout the previous night. On another occasion, he took a cudgel and beat a Spanish inmate to death while the man was shackled to the wall. The reason why there were Spanish inmates at Mauthausen was that after the fall of France in June 1940, collaborating Vichy French authorities turned over to the German SS and police thousands of Spanish refugees, virtually all of whom had fought against General Francisco Franco's rebel troops during the Spanish Civil War, and who had fled to France after Franco overthrew the Spanish Republic in 1939. Riegler's brutality did not stop at beatings and torture. In mid-November 1944, he took part in the execution of 26 Yugoslav prisoners. At this time, he held a rank of SS Unterscharführer, which was equivalent to a sergeant, and held a position of Rapportführer or report leader, overseeing other block leaders. Between 1943 and 1945, Riegler was also a supervisor at 10 to 15 hangings, directly involved in the executions and displaying complete indifference to the suffering of the victims. During the night of the 2nd of February 1945, approximately 500 inmates, almost all of them Soviet officers, attempted to escape from the Müllviertel subcamp of the Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp. They attacked the watchtowers and managed to occupy one of them. The electrified barbed wire fence was short-circuited with wet blankets so the inmates could climb over it. Many of the escapees were too exhausted to get very far and soon collapsed. Those who did not manage to reach the woods were shot that night by the SS. Immediately after the escape, the SS organized a major search in which all the members of the SS headquarters staff, including Josef Riegler, the gendarmerie, army units, SA divisions, and Hitler youth groups took part. The SS order was not to bring any inmates back alive. The hunt for the escapees also called for the assistance of the civilian population, and the people came and willingly obliged. According to the documents and the testimonies given by witnesses, there was no immediate threat to anyone, nor was anyone forced to participate, which proves the squalid state of mind and character of the lot of the people at that time. The manhunt was cynically called the Müllviertel Rabbit Chase by the SS and went on for 3 weeks. Except for 11 officers, all escapees were captured and mostly killed on the spot. Riegler actively participated in executions of the captured prisoners and would often return from them drunk, boasting about the killings he had committed. Towards the end of the war, the Mauthausen concentration camp became the destination for evacuations from the camps near the front line. Tens of thousands of prisoners arrived on several large transports. Overcrowding, lack of food, and rampant disease led to mass death among the prisoners in the final months before liberation. On the 5th of May 1945, the US Army reached Gusen and Mauthausen. By the time of its liberation, most of the guards in Mauthausen had fled, and around 30 of those who remained were killed by the prisoners. A similar number were also killed in Gusen. In the confusion during the liberation, prisoners, enraged by the killings perpetrated by the capos and barrack elders the previous month, killed a number of these prisoners who had served as capos, room elders, or other types of auxiliary service to the SS staff. After the liberation, some prisoners were in such a weakened state that many still died in the days and weeks that followed the liberation. An estimated 197,000 prisoners passed through the Mauthausen concentration camp and its subcamps between August 1938 and May 1945. At least 95,000 died there, and more than 14,000 of them were Jewish. Justice finally caught up with Riegler when on the 13th of May 1945, he was arrested by members of the US Army in the Austrian town of Erklabruck and brought to Dachau, where he was tried at the Mauthausen-Gusen camp trials, heard by an American military government court. The first trial of personnel from Mauthausen-Gusen began on the 29th of March 1946. In his own statement, Riegler admitted that on 80 to 100 occasions, he prepared the execution of prisoners of various nationalities, that he participated as a guard in the execution of 26 Yugoslavs, and that he obeyed an order to kill Russians who had been recaptured following the mass escape. On the 13th of May 1946, the Dachau International Military Tribunal sentenced Josef Riegler to death by hanging. His parents, Josef and Katharina Riegler, filed a petition for clemency, believing that despite his atrocities, Riegler still deserved to live. However, the petition was rejected. Riegler was 24 years old when he was hanged on the 27th of May 1947 in the Landsberg War Criminals Prison. There were no tears shed for Josef Riegler. Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.